Hey,
Hello.
we're doing another live. We can't even call it a live anymore, can we? But
No, what's live for us?
It's live for us. We're going to have a discussion around having certain anxieties around food and how to navigate that, how to deal with that, and maybe getting a better mindset, a healthier mindset around food when you're dealing with those sort of anxieties.
Yeah, and this was a question that we had as well, which was nice.
Yeah.
So got a question.
One question.
Yay!
I think the first thing we should address is how the severity of your anxiety around food, because obviously we are nutritionists, but sometimes depending on the level of anxiety you're feeling around food, if it's affecting your life, it's not something that we can really deal with. We signpost you to go and seek help. But I think on the general population society level, a lot of us sometimes do feel anxieties around food. So, and we can address that because I think it's our role to spot it out and to be like, oh, your mindset's not so great about that. So nutritionists can still definitely help you. And I think that's important to realize. But obviously there's a threshold, there's a kind of like a cutoff depending on how severe it is. If it's affecting you, definitely go seek professional help.
For sure. Yes. Because I just said to you before we press record, the reason as well I wanted to speak about this is because it's something that I have gone through this last week. I've noticed like a real spike feeling anxious, and I haven't felt like that for so long. But I think where I have moved, and there's so many things. This is another thing, because we've spoke about this before actually as well, sidetrack. But when there are moments of stress in your life or something happens, you can revert back to like old behaviors like dieting, or think going on a diet will fix it, and different bits and pieces like that. And it's that control element. And I think where I've moved, and there's so much uncertainty around everything, I sound even saying it out loud, I'm so aware it sounds so crazy, but I have no protein here. I have no protein powder. Yeah. So I've ordered 10 days to get here. And, I do eat fish, but who I'm staying with doesn't eat any animal products at all. So just out of respect, like I have like milk and stuff in the fridge, but I'm not going to cook fish in her place or eggs, and I'm not that fussed about it anyway. But my diet for the last week has had no protein in it, which rationally I know is fine because it's so rare that this happens and there's nothing, it will be absolutely fine. But I have noticed that feeling of like, oh, and I don't even think it's about the protein else. I think it's because that is something that I could control. And if I was controlling that, it would be like one thing that I was like, that's okay, because everything else is like just absolutely fucking mental. But yeah. So I feel like I can, when this question was asked, that's why I said like I think I want to do it, because I think so many people feel it, and it's when you're aware of it, then you can step out of it and almost like separate it and be like, right, this isn't rational. Why am I feeling this way? Like, is this thought true? Like, is this food? And I'm now taking it away from the protein. But if you're someone that gets anxious about like foods that you think might make you fat or aren't healthy, like, is that statement true? Is this one cupcake going to make me fat?
Yeah.
No. And I don't know how would you do it? Like, what would be if you had like a bullet point list, or I don't know, like a checklist to go through when you feel those emotions?
I think it's understanding that something that you're mentioning here, like one food on its own is not inherently good or bad. One food on its own will not make you the healthiest person alive, and it won't make you the unhealthiest person and make you gain 10 kilograms of weight just by eating that one food. Like a healthy lifestyle, a healthy diet is the things that you do in the long term. And that's not then to make you focus so much on that, oh my God, okay, I need to be doing this, I need to be doing this, but it's to reassure you that, again, that one thing that you do eat, that one chocolate bar, it's not going to make or break your diet, because it's just one thing. If you're only eating chocolate bars your whole day and you're not walking and your social relationships are really bad, you've got really poor sleep, then that's where things are like, okay, you need to question what you're doing, you need to change your habits. But yeah, you can see it like eating a salad. eating one salad on one day, you're not automatically this super healthy person and the smallest, thinnest, leanest person. No, because it's one thing that you're doing. So I think it's having that awareness that it's what you do over the long term, healthy habits, doing exercise, eating a variety of foods, but not focusing so much on that one meal or that one snack that you have, because it's not gonna, as I said, make or break your diet in a good way. Like, I think it's like the 80-20 rule. I don't like calling it a rule. I prefer like 80-20 guide, like where 80% of your diet is whole foods, not really processed, high in like nutritional value. So your vegetables, your like meats, seafoods, legumes, grains, like healthy fats, all of the good stuff. But then 20% can be a bit more flexible, because not everything has to be perfect. And maybe that's where these anxieties are coming from. Like, oh, I have to be perfect. Like hitting my protein target has to be like, there's this expectation of what your diet should look like. And if it doesn't look like this, and it's bad and I'm not doing well, and it's going to ruin my progress, ruin my diet, and makes me unhealthy. And that's just not the case.
Yeah. No. Also, going back, I just thought when you were talking then, you know how you said, isn't it mad how if you have like a healthy day or whatever, it takes so much, like people don't have one healthy day and then think, yes, I'm a healthy person. Like you would never say that. But if you have one like meal that you deem bad, you can spiral, and then your head, like you are then the worst person, the most unhealthy, laziest person ever. And I feel like that comes back to like your mindset and like the way you view yourself do you know what I mean? Like you almost use that meal to like reaffirm to yourself, see, I can't do this, like I am lazy, like I eat like a whatever, like you probably talk to yourself horribly. Like I think we've all been there, like in your head, the things you can say to yourself are just mad. Like I think you need to also, when those voices come up, you need to give them a name, and they need to be another person. You need to like we've spoke about this before, because I do that all the time, literally flick them like off my shoulder, like fuck off, stuff it, like the voices in my head. But you actually challenge that, because it's so much easier to to play into that. I just think mindset is so important when it comes around that.
And again, like as what you're saying, like the belief, when you are talking to yourself, it's not actually you, it's ideas and beliefs that you've learned through things like diet culture, through things like the thin ideal society, people's we focus a lot of our attention on our weight in the society, and it's not necessarily a good thing.
And sometimes it's not even that. It's like it can be the voice of like I don't know, it wouldn't be a friend, but like someone of your past that maybe was critical of you. Or I have that, like I had, like when I think of often there are a couple of people, I'm not putting out there, but I'll keep to myself, but a couple of people that when I have like these negative thoughts in my head, I hear their voices. And I have to like and I have to call myself out on that and be like, that's not your thought, that's what they have put on you, and that's not true, and you can fight back from that. That's a bit like but they are. So like you said, it can be voices from what you've learned, from like the environment you grew up in, but they can be other people's, and you have to like stop and question, like, do I actually think this? Or and pick it apart.
Because for me, like when I was in a poorer place with like my relationship to food, it was my voice. I heard me, like I was judging and criticizing myself, and I had these expectations of myself. So these anxieties were coming from me, but unknowingly it was because of what I've been internalizing. And it's like these expectations that I put for myself are based off what I've been consuming. And not like actual food wise, but like
I know.
We talk about food, so it's like there's all of these crossovers. So I think it's definitely having an awareness of your thoughts and having awareness of the anxieties around food, because if you have like certain food rules, it is a red flag. Like if you're saying, oh no, I shouldn't have that because that's bad. The language that you're using around food, again, there's no really good or bad food. There are foods obviously that are higher in nutritional value, and you want the majority of your diet to be like that. But again, you need that flexibility because we're not robots. We're not going to eat a salad every single day, especially if you don't even like a salad. Like, you don't have these expectations of yourself. And another thing I think is a big point is the anxiety you have around eating that food is probably more unhealthy than the food itself and just eating the food. It really is, because you're stressing yourself out for no reason when you could have the food, move on with your day, not think about it again. And then when you have these anxieties and these like restrictions, it makes you want it more. So somewhere down the line, you're going to be in a social situation where you might be avoiding these a few times, but you want the food. I don't know how to explain. Like, you just let go and you're like, oh, I need it all. I need it all. So you just eat everything because you haven't allowed yourself to have it. I don't know.
Yeah, and then you feel worse because you experience that complete, or you don't, not everyone does, but you can experience that complete loss of control. And that's a horrible, horrible feeling. Yeah. And then again, that plays into the fact that like you can't do something, or you're not capable of like, I don't know, of sticking to something. But I don't even like saying that because it's not about that. But like I'm just trying to think, and again, everyone is different, but I'm just trying to think of the thoughts that I have had in the past that I'm sure some people probably still feel if they're in that position.
Definitely. Like, say if you were to, I don't know, have a bit of a binge or overeat and feel stuffed, you may not have actually had a binge eating episode, but from your subjective experience, you've overeaten or you've eaten something that's bad, and you take that to mean that yes, I can't be trusted around foods. So yes, I do need to be on a diet. Yes, I do need to restrict. And it just catches you in this cycle of dieting, restrict, exercising as a punishment rather than just from enjoyment. And then you can only do that for so long though. You can only stick to that for so long, and that's where you end up being exhausted firstly, and then losing that ability because it's not about discipline. Like, it's not, no one runs off of discipline all the time. It's about, again, the longer term, more sustainable, having those healthier habits in place, but being flexible. Allow yourself to have those weekends where you do go out for a drink, because again, health isn't just your diet, it's your social connections, your relationships, your work life, your financial health, mental health. It's not just what you're eating.
Yeah. And I think as well, the word binge like gets thrown around so often, and I really do believe most of the time you probably haven't even really overate. I just think there's this thing, like sometimes people, it's like this embarrassment because we've been told to eat little and often, or like you shouldn't eat as much as like a female or whatever, just which has been told for so long. Then if you can actually demolish a pizza, which is absolutely, like a pizza actually isn't that big, but you feel like guilt around being able to eat the whole pizza. I know again, talking from experience, in the past I had felt like that. And I remember thinking when everyone else around me was like, oh my gosh, I had like if you go to McDonald's and they'll be like, oh, I just got so full after my Big Mac or whatever. And I legit, like, especially when I ate meat, I swear to God, I would have a large Big Mac and an extra double cheeseburger. And that was not like, but then I felt like even worse because I felt like, no, but actually a lot of people can eat more than what they're saying. It's this weird like embarrassment. And then you feel like, oh my God, I've binged, I've overate, I've eaten so much. And you really like it's not difficult to eat 3,000-4,000 calories a day.
No, it's not. Depending on the food that you're eating as well. Like if it is things like pizza,
that's what I'm saying. Like, and how often do you go, oh my gosh, I'm gonna like that? I don't know. The roast dinner was so nice. I'm gonna have extra broccoli and extra like carrots. No, you have extra like honey roasted parsnips and potatoes and Yorkshire puddings. Like that's where the good stuff is. So that's what I'm saying. Like that's easy to get those. Like the calories in there. But. Yeah.
I think so.
Sorry, I like went off then. I was like thinking and like I could feel myself like,
You're drifting away. I've said it quite a few times, but I think flexibility then is definitely a key thing that you need in your life, in all aspects of your life, really. Like, you need to be, because as we said, you're not going to be perfect. That mental ability to just be flexible with not eating at the same time every single day, not sticking to your calories if you are calorie tracking. Like, if I was to take your phone away for the day and you couldn't track your calories, if that's really scary for you, again, that's probably a red flag. Like, you should be able to not need to track your calories, because especially if you've been doing it for a long time, you probably know what you're eating. Why is there this need to track what you're eating? Because I feel like that comes down to not trusting yourself and not trusting your body, not trusting your hunger. Like, you feel like your hunger shouldn't be, you can't honor it because, I don't know. I just did a post about this today, actually. It's like not eating unless you feel like you really need to eat, whatever that means. Like, maybe you haven't exercised that day, you haven't been on your feet rushing about. I don't deserve to eat unless I'm like starving. And that's not really a way to see it. Like, why does there have to be this massive reason for you to eat? Like, we forget that eating is literally one of the most normal things humans will do in our lives.
Yeah.
And
Unenjoyable, one of the most enjoyable.
unenjoyable. And having substantial regular meals will probably impact you positively in other aspects of your life. So get rid of this idea that like you can only eat when you like really need to. Because what does that even mean? Like, of course, like, you're allowed to eat whenever you want, and you need to eat regardless of.
Yeah. And I do think, depending on like your goals, tracking does have a place. Like, it's all individual, but yeah, I do think you're right. If it's causing you more stress to the idea of not having it, then that needs to be addressed, because that, as you said, as we both have said, that is more damaging to your health than any food that you're potentially eating or. Just look at the notes.
Yeah, just look at the
notes. I don't know. I was just going to say, so if someone was feeling this way, I think it's good to give like some actual steps that they can do. And I think if you're starting to feel that anxiety around like maybe eating out, if you can take just like a few minutes to take some big deep breaths, like in for 4, out for 8, take like a couple of minutes to do that, will really help. Even got like the notes app on your phone, like doing this quite often, and like write in like, is this true? Like, what am I actually feeling right now? Jot a few things down. Again, if you're on the run, I appreciate you can't like always do that. So, but the breathing does really help. And then when you're eating the food, try not to rush it. Like, try to like sit down calmly, like enjoy it, like take it slow. Like have some water with you as well. If you like, don't, because I feel like as well, if you start to feel anxious about it, you then have this panic, and then you order whatever, and then you just sort of eat it so quick, and you don't even realize what you've done, and then you eat more, and then it causes even more anxiety and more stress about afterwards, like, oh my gosh, what did I do? So you just need to really try and just calm. I know it's easier said than done, but calm your nervous system, stay nice and chilled, and just approach it that way.
Yeah, I think.
And again, nothing happens overnight, does it? So this isn't like the first time you try to do this, you might be like, pretty shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You might try it and then be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she said just breathe, that did nothing. But you have to be like this, you have to be like consistent with it. Like, it's gonna be hard. You're trying to untrain. That thought has obviously come from somewhere, and it has probably been there for quite a while if it's built up to this thing, you know, around like, I don't know how often it happens for this individual that asked the question, anyone that deals with it. So you just have to be really patient with it and understand, like, and be kind to yourself. Like, if you're still like, another thing is, you know what else? It's like falling into that trap of trying to not be anxious and then still being anxious and then being pissed off with yourself because you're anxious. Like, no, like that's so useless. But okay, I still do feel anxious about this, but I'm really trying. And I'm going to try again next time. And I've challenged these thoughts, and I'll keep going at this until it's, you know.
I think like that really resonated with me, like going to restaurants. I remember for like maybe even from like a year ago, there was a period of time every time I went to a restaurant, deciding what to get from the menu was one of the most stressful things I've ever done. Like, I would bug myself out. I'd be sitting there in my own little head, not really noticing what was going around me, like not engaging in conversations, just what do I get on this menu? Because I was thinking, my eyes would be drawn to the thing that I wanted, but then straight away I think of every reason not to get that food and why to get something else. And it'd be like an inner battle. My thoughts would be battling with myself, like, no, I do really want that. And like, I know it'd be nice, but no, that's too high in calories. No, that's too fat. No, I haven't really done enough today. Oh, I only ate like 4 hours ago. I'm not even that hungry. Like, do I need that? No. Like, this would be in my mind. And like, over time, at the beginning, I don't know if there was anything that could have helped me. Maybe in the moment, like, yeah, just like reassurance. And sometimes I would give in to those thoughts that said, no, get something else. And sometimes I wouldn't, and I would challenge myself. But it's what you said, like, I would then eat it quickly, and then I'd go on and have dessert, and I'd be overly stuffed. And then I'd feel a lot of shame about it.
Yeah.
But I think that was because I then fell back into the restrictive mindset of like, oh, tomorrow I'll just be really good and I won't be having this again, so it's fine.
Yeah, like you're
yeah.
How many like last meals have we all had? Like, no, this is the last time I'm gonna have like dairy milk. So I'm gonna have like so much dairy milk. It's just insane.
In the moment, I didn't realize why I was like needing to overeat and overconsume. But it was because like I had those restrictive thoughts in the back. Even though I had the food that I wanted to have, I knew that it's not going to be a regular occurrence. And I knew that during the day, for example, I don't feed myself substantially and regularly. So even if you're not physically restricting in that meal, doesn't mean that the impact of your thoughts don't affect your behaviors later on. Because I found over time, so like, even though I was gaining weight and eating enough, I was eating in ways that wasn't supporting the idea that I was positively nourishing my body and giving myself enough. Because I was having breakfast and I'd wait like 6-8 hours till my next larger meal, and I thought I was eating a lot, but not, I don't know, still from a very weird mindset. Like I wasn't actually in this place of recovery. It was like a fake recovery. I was like, oh, see, I'm gaining weight. I can eat this much food. But my thoughts were very much like based on rules and scared of weight gain, very much scared of weight. And yeah, I don't know, it's just it's hard.
Yeah. I remember it's only been recently, and I'll probably say that the last 2 or 3 years, that I can go to a restaurant and actually really pick on the menu what I want to eat. Because I think for so many years it was either I honestly, I remember then I've thought about this so often actually. Like I look back and think, I don't think I ever even knew what I fancied. Like I honestly genuinely didn't know what I fancied, because if I said like, oh, I'm having a burger, I don't actually think I wanted the burger. It was the fact that for whatever reason that night, somewhere in my head, sometimes consciously, sometimes not, I was allowing myself to have whatever I wanted. Yes. So I would just go for the highest, like the thing that I wouldn't normally let myself have. Or it was like, it would be like the healthier thing just because I was honestly, Elsa, it took years. Like I said, literally the only last 2 or 3 years. And sometimes even now I'm like, what do I actually want to eat? But then it's different because you can then overthink that to the point where now I'm like, sometimes I'll just have what's in just because it's easy. There's no control over that. It's just like, I bought like a couple of packs of tofu, so I'll probably have tofu every night this week because it's just easy and it's in the fridge. There's no other alternative motive behind that. But there has been times where there were, and I didn't even know. And then actually being like, if someone was to say to me, what do you want? And then another thing is sometimes I just order anything because I'd just be looking at the menu like, I don't actually know. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. But then that's come from like following people and being around that. Like when people say, I remember you've done this before. I don't know how long ago you spoke about before, but like breakfasts, like what do you have for breakfast? Like, do you actually like what you have for breakfast? And I would have porridge every morning. I remember when you did that, I was like, oh my gosh, do I like porridge? Like I do. Do I like protein porridge? Yeah. I do. Yeah. But I was like, but then also sometimes, again, everyone's different. It's all different. You go off ages, but then how many people do have a different breakfast every morning? Like sometimes it's easy just to have the same breakfast just to save for time, and you like it and you go for it and it's just done. And I know I have like my breakfast will usually have like protein in it and then a couple of portions of fruit, and then that's done. That's a good way to start the day. It doesn't take any extra thought. Like sometimes it'd be more time consuming, and like it would be more annoying for me to be like, oh, I'm going to have French toast and I'm going to make, like, there's other things I could be doing, spending my time rather than faffing around.
No, 100%.
Sometimes it's nice, like at a weekend, or whenever, but yeah.
Not everything has to be, oh, this is exactly what I want and I'm going to have it. No, like some things as you are, it's just convenient, it's ease, it's habit, that's fine, it fills you up and that's what I'm going to have. It doesn't have to be every single meal. You're not even going to know what you want most times, and that's okay as well. Like sometimes your appetite, you're hungry, you just don't know. And again, I don't know, like, it doesn't have to be the most perfect meal or exactly what you want every time. And I think going back to what we were saying about going to restaurants and choosing what you want, if you've been making decisions based on like restriction and like the dieting mindset, the first few times you go to a restaurant and you try like get rid of those thoughts and you do allow yourself, you might find yourself picking the biggest thing or something that's not so healthy on multiple occasions to start with. And where people go wrong is they straight away revert back to what they were doing because they're like, oh no, I am going out of control. But I think you have to sit with that discomfort, be uncomfortable, allow yourself to do it because you haven't let yourself do it. And then over time, when those foods become normalized, once you realize that it's not a good food or a bad food, it's just food, something you can enjoy and then move on, then you won't need to always order that thing that you've been like, that you've thought to be this, this untouchable, naughty. It'll just be a food. And when you actually want it, you'll have it, but you won't have it every single time. Because when you want it, you can have it. You're normalizing it, which I think is important.
Yeah, really important. Oh, yeah.
So
I think I like that. That's like a nice little... I think we've covered quite a lot. In that.
Yeah, we have actually.
Yeah, we have. No, I hope that helped.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Yes. That's cool. Have you got any other points or anything you want to make?
No, I think maybe just to summarize is health isn't just what you're eating, and it's more the long term, what you're doing. Your diet, obviously, you want to have some flexibility, but one food isn't going to make you healthy. It's not going to make you unhealthy. And weight gain shouldn't really be like one food won't make you gain 10 kilograms. The anxiety that you have around food is just as like unhealthy as just eating the food itself. Things like in the moment, making sure to like breathe, ground yourself, reassure yourself, be kind. Like, what language are you using with yourself? That's something that we touch on quite a lot. Like, reflect. And I don't know, just do what you need to do. Sometimes, as I said, it could be giving in to those thoughts that you did have, but don't beat yourself up about that and let yourself sit with the discomfort. If you are choosing the alternative that you'd usually avoid, it will be uncomfortable, but the more times you do it, the more times you normalize that food, and the more you realize it's just a food and you can enjoy it when you want it. You won't need it every single time, and that's absolutely fine. It's about balance, really, isn't it? And that's different for everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's everything. Hope everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah. If anyone has any questions, anything at all, just message Elsa or I, and then we'll find our next topic to talk about.
Yeah. Okay then. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.